Hey everybody, DAO fans and developers. This is another episode of the DAO Envelop podcast, and you'll absolutely love this episode if you are a DAO holder or MakerDAO lovers or DAO fan, because now we are having Corina from MakerDAO. Yes, Corina from MakerDAO, the DAO creator, the DAI stablecoin creator. I'm personally the DAI holder, and I'm thrilled to announce here. My name is Eugene Crypto MC, and Corina, welcome to our podcast. It's amazing to have you on our show.
Hi, thank you very much for having me. I'm really excited about this session.
Recently, you delivered a great talk in Brazil, in Rio, in Rio. That's why our Jonathan, marketer, caught you, and you are here, podcast. And let's start with your story, because a very smiling girl with a Copenhagen business school in background. How did you get into the crypto space? How did you become the MakerDAO member?
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much. That was actually at E3, that was my first speech. So I was really nervous. So it's really good to have such positive feedback. Yeah, you are right. I was studying at Copenhagen Business School, and actually the catalyst for me learning about Web3. The thing is, I really wanted to study in that school since I was like 15, and I applied once and they didn't let me in, and then I applied the second time. I was rejected again, and in order to get in the third time, I decided to, research and do as many courses as possible. So I just randomly found this course that was called the Revolution of Financial Services. I knew absolutely nothing about finance, but I just decided to do that in order to, get into a cool school, I guess. So I took that course. It was all about fintech, basically, and banking and all that stuff. It was interesting, but there was only one class about Bitcoin and blockchain, and that really, really got me hooked up. And I thought, oh my God, this is a really interesting technology. I have to learn more, but I didn't know where to learn from. So eventually I did get into that school the third time. And the first thing I did when I started my degree, I found a professor who created that course, and I went up to him and I said, hey, I did this course, and I remember that class about blockchain and Bitcoin, and I really want to learn more about this whole thing. And he basically just told me, okay, you have to read like these 5 white papers and these research papers and commentaries that I wrote and stuff. And he sent me around like 800 pages of just stuff to read. And then he said, and then come back. So that was the catalyst. And then I read all of those pages. I think actually one of those papers was the MakerDAO white paper. But back then I was a little bit more like clueless. It was harder for me to understand the whole concept and how the protocol works. But it did like really, really hook me up. That was like 2.5 years ago or so. And then ever since then, I just never stopped learning and exploring. And eventually I decided that, okay, this is a really, really interesting industry with so many different use cases. It's super revolutionary. So I decided that I really want to work in DeFi. And well, I think I'm the luckiest girl to be, to be not only in DeFi, but to actually be at the forefront of the DAO revolution and to experience what real decentralization of power looks like.
Definitely learning a lot. This is an endless process in the Web3 space. And by the way, you also got the University of Nicosia degree in DeFi. And I especially would love to ask you, looking on LinkedIn, how did you like the study? Because University of Nicosia is really famous in crypto space. So do you recommend to learn offline or online there in their university for Web3?
So that wasn't a degree, that was a certification. So it was, I think, yeah, it was like a really quick course about DeFi. Yeah, I actually remember when I was studying at Copenhagen Business School, I was thinking, okay, I really have to learn more about all this, but I didn't know where to find the information. And University of Nicosia definitely popped up a lot of times. I think they are one of the first like universities that actually do degrees in blockchain and that kind of stuff. So, well, the course I had was really interesting indeed, but I cannot say a lot more about that place.
They were the very first university in the space started to educate on academic basis, I would say. So what excites you most of all in Web3 space? Not regarding DAOs, there's been another question about that. In Web3 in general, what excites you most? 3 things that excite you most.
3 things. Can I say 50? There's a lot. I think, yeah, the number one thing is definitely just the concept, in practice, the concept of decentralization of power, just because it allows, for flatter structures, it allows for inclusivity, it allows for more people to have a say, it allows for transparency, lowers the possibility for corruption and so on, so that this definitely decentralization is the number one thing that I find most important about Web3. The second would be probably culture for me. Like we are seeing a kind of shift in the concept of communities. Thanks to Web3, I think it's just a space where you can create communities pretty much in like any kind of niche, and here we come up with, DAOs, but it doesn't necessarily have to be DAOs, it can be just an NFT community, a DeFi community. You know what I'm saying? It's like all about, it's very, very community driven, which means that a lot more people can get involved, and it's a lot easier in this way to collaborate and work with like-minded people. It's very different in like traditional finance or overall in the traditional world, where everyone has their own job in a company, and those companies are separate entities, and they don't, unless they have some kind of work together, they don't have to collaborate. Was I clear enough? This one? Yeah, basically it creates a lot more room for collaboration and a lot more opportunities. Yeah, definitely.
And this podcast is the clear example of such a collaboration. So DAO Envelop collaborates with MakerDAO. This was our dream by doing this podcast by Eugene and Corina. Yeah. Recently, you changed your name on Twitter from Corina.ath, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was Corina.eth. Yeah.
Yeah, Corina.eth, and I'm CryptoMC.eth. So we do know what is ETH ENS names, but you changed for Corina.lens. So yes. I realized that you tried the Lens protocol. It was recently announced on, if I'm not mistaken, permissionless conference. Mm-hmm. So may explain what is Lens protocol and why did you test it also?
Oh, actually, I have scheduled to test it in 3 days, I think on the 10th of June, together with a bunch of girls in Web3. So we're going to test it all together. So I did not test it out yet. I'm just excited to test it out. But I did claim my name, Corina.lens. And also, I just quickly looked through it. I know that it's kind of a text. This is my understanding that it's going to be a protocol, kind of a tech stack for decentralized social media. And this Lens handle is going to be, so I could be, and you could be using your Lens handle across different protocols in Web3, basically kind of like an ENS name, as far as I understand, but also connected to like decentralized social media networks.
Have you already tested all the main building blocks of Web3 space? I mean, for example, using crypto, being on DeFi, being the member of DAO, testing protocols, and so on and so forth. So you are a technical lady. You are not a humanitarian lady. You're not just talking. You are doing by your, because you are the project manager. You have to test it. Am I correct?
I wouldn't put it just, dividing between technical or humanitarian. I think I'm a little bit of both, just testing out. Yeah, I'm definitely a little bit of both. Of course, I tested out different things and like staking and swaps and that kind of stuff. I still have so much to learn and to test. I didn't do a lot of things that my colleagues do or my friends do, but this is also why I am trying to participate in different communities and connect with others where we can do these kind of things together. Yeah. So for example, testing out the Lens protocol, I think it would be a lot more fun for me to try it out with my friends in a few days than for me to try it out alone. I don't know. Yeah, kind of like that.
Great, I love it. I'd love to discuss on today's episodes the core things of Web3, DAOs, maybe DeFi, NFT, stable coins, of course, because MakerDAO is the producer of DAO. Let's start with a DAO. How do you define what is DAO and what excites you most about this form of digital coordination of people in the form of DAO?
Yeah, so I just want to give a disclaimer that what I'm going to say is a lot more conceptual than what we are doing in practice in Web3, because I think everyone is just following the concept of what the DAO is, but very, very, very few DAOs have actual structures in place to, make this concept work. So basically a DAO, conceptually is about having a structure where any kind of, where there's a group of people, there's a group of contributors or, community, and everyone has a say by having, equally distributed voting power. Not equally distributed, but with an equal opportunity to own this voting power, basically. So in the MakerDAO case, this voting power is represented by the MKR tokens, which is the Maker native token. And basically, by having these MKR tokens, you own voting power. It's kind of, if we draw a line between that and the traditional world, it's kind of like having shares in a company, except the difference is that when you have shares in a company and you're not, directly involved in a board of members or, similar with everything, then you don't necessarily see everything that is going on in that company, and you cannot make very calculated decisions based on all of the information. So you don't have access to all of the information. In a DAO, this is the biggest difference in my opinion, because in a DAO, everything is public and transparent. So all the numbers, like the revenue that the protocol makes, the budgets, everything is out there on the forum, on the vote.makerdao.com. Anyone can participate. So basically, anyone who owns or who doesn't own any MKR, they can go in and see everything that is going on with the protocol. So this is in my perspective, this is exactly how a DAO should function in terms of transparency and like equal opportunities to entry.
Well, you mentioned voting. This is the main thing perhaps the DAO is also being criticized for. And here comes the professional question from our team, because we got prepared by all the team to that podcast. They ask you, there are situations where you need to make a decision quickly, as it was in the case with Terra Luna, which I will ask you a bit further. So what voting model for DAO members do you think is best for emergency cases such as this?
Yeah. Yes. So I think that if I would have like a really good answer for this, then I would definitely suggest it to the DAO and to all the other DAOs. The thing is, so for Maker, for instance, we have something called an emergency shutdown of the protocol, but this is all in code, right? So if things go wrong, then the voting power is corrupted, then there's an emergency shutdown. The thing is that, so the way Maker is functioning, like the governance itself, is basically all the decisions go through voting, right? So we have these proposals. First, you make like an MIP, which is a Maker Improvement Proposal, and then you see like what is the overall sentiment, like what does the community think about this, and so on. This is just like a forum discussion. You leave it, let's say, a couple of weeks over there to see what's up. If you feel like the sentiment is positive enough regarding your proposal, then you can take it to the governance voting, where people have to actually vote and, you know, they gas for that. And then I think there's a window of a couple of weeks again for the executive voting. So basically there's 3 steps, right? So this wouldn't work in an emergency case, right? But the thing is that I don't think we have like something in place for these kind of urgent decisions that need to be made, but our community trusts the facilitators, like the team leaders who are in charge of certain vital fit parts of the protocol, for instance, the protocol engineering team, right? And to be honest, no one I think most of the people in Maker and overall in Web3, everyone is like up and ready for emergencies. People don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't work Monday to Friday and then, the weekend is off and I don't care what's going on. I'm gonna take, my days off. So basically, if there is an emergency, then I think the community trusts that if there is not enough time to make a decision from the community to put something to vote, and wait for weeks, then the community has enough trust in these facilitators and the main people in charge that they are going to take the right decision, as long as they are also informing the community about it and giving really good and clear arguments and explanations to why they decided to take this decision. Yeah.
By the way, from your own perception, when you talk about MakerDAO, the first thing you think about is it is about DAO and DAOs, or it's more about DeFi and stable coins, or these are both things?
I would say both, definitely. Yes.
So because DAO is just the form of existence.
The DAO is the structure behind the protocol that is helping the protocol maintain like a healthy, like the protocol health, basically. Yes, and we are literally, the protocol runs on itself, right? Because it's all coded, everything is coded, and that is a stable coin that's fully in code, is based on that. But what we are here to do is basically facilitate the best practices for the protocol and for DAI.
Yeah, definitely. So it's still early to say that DAO are hardly drastically reshaping our the world, but nevertheless, we have a lot of DAOs. For now, I think up to 100 or more than 100 DAOs we already have in the world. There are a sort of a taxonomy of DAO, different types of DAO have already existed: social DAOs, protocol DAOs like Maker, value DAOs, and so on and so forth. That's the huge topic. How do you see how useful DAOs or the structures or the form of decentralized coordination of people are for now? How useful they will be, and do DAOs have a great chances to reshape our world drastically? I'm not saying about the changing of the centralized organizations for decentralized organization. I do not believe in such a topic, because DAOs accumulate the people with open-minded, people who don't need centralized coordination. And the vast majority of people unfortunately, they do need a ruler, they do need a commander, they do need somebody who will tell them what to do, because that's why DAOs are accumulating people, free-minded people, libertarian people, I would say. So how do you see DAO will reshape our world in, let's say, 5, 10, 20 years, your vision?
This question over here is quite complex, because first, regarding, you know, the number of DAOs we have right now, and the super really growing number, I would like to mention that not all of them are DAOs. So a DAO is, first of all, a decentralized structure. Some of them are just distributed structures, but not fully decentralized, right? And then the A stands for autonomous. So, but which is, you know, this is perfectly okay. That's all of those DAOs are not yet fully decentralized and autonomous. But basically the point is that autonomy means that you don't have, you know, another company or a foundation behind it that's backing it, and that's, you know, running very vital things within the DAO, or, you know, setting the direction with too much control and so on. So I really do think that this is improving a lot, because the space is moving super fast and everyone is learning from each other a lot. So I definitely think that we'll get there where we'll have truly decentralized structures in 5, 10 years, for sure. I think we'll get there in a couple of years, where we'll see really a lot of decentralized communities. In terms of how it's shaping the world, or let's say how it's shaping the way organizations are made or run, I think this is definitely, this is going to have an immensely positive impact on our society overall, and also perhaps, you know, political and social aspects as well. Because as you said, the people who join these DAOs are more libertarian. They don't like to, you know, follow the current. They have a problem with centralization. Not they have a problem, but they see the problems that come with centralization, right? When there's too much voting power in one hand, for instance, and that one hand is not, you know, the best hand, or it doesn't do the best practices, or corruption, that is a very big problem. So thanks to the decentralization part of DAOs, as I mentioned before, you know, there's a lot less room for corruption. Basically, any mistakes that can be made over there, they're public. Any, you know, all the transactions are on chain. Everyone has access to that. Everyone sees what is going on. So that creates a lot more room for collaboration, less room for corruption and, you know, misconduct, which I think this is a very, very great thing. And I think that, you know, as the DAO space is growing, for us, like hearing over 100 DAOs, which I honestly think there are right now over 300 at least, definitely. For us right now, maybe that's a surreal number, but I think we're gonna get to 1,000 and 5,000 DAOs very, very quickly. And this is going to become a pretty big trend. I think that this, you know, this year is the year of DAOs. And I feel like this is going to become a really big trend, and it's going to be big enough to make the heads of the corporations, or, you know, more closed centralized structures, you know, turn their heads to us and see how we are doing things differently and how this is working a lot better. And eventually there's going to be this butterfly effect where, you know, the others who didn't see the problems with centralization before are going to finally start seeing it and also do some changes on their end.
Definitely. We may have concluded for now that DAOs have already become a severe alternative for any other forms of human coordination. So, I mean, centralized organization, DAO have already existed. DAO have already become a big treasuries. They contain more than several, perhaps up to trillion truly also, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a very big amount of money. Yeah. And nobody controls them because they are on DAO. They are transparent. And this is a huge impact. And we will see, of course, the events will be going in very quickly, very fast. And we cannot even predict what we will see till the end of this year. And this is an amazing space. It's not so late to join. And just, I want to ask you here, how do you see the reasons? Let's see. Somebody's watching us right now, and he's thinking, why should I join a DAO? Which DAO should I join? Should I join DAO at all? Or and so on and so forth. May I give a sort of suggestions how to think into the direction of my future? Perhaps this is my personal task. I'm thinking, should I join a DAO? But of course, I am the DAO member of DAO Envelop, but I'm working for DAO. I'm working for salary, to be honest. Okay. And I want to work for DAO for tokens. How to make such a decision? Give us your suggestions.
It really depends on, okay, so if I would, give advice to a friend, for instance, I would say, first of all, it depends on what do you want to do in this DAO. Like if you just want to become a community member, then, buy their token or their NFT. There are a lot of NFT-based DAOs, and just follow what is the DAO doing? What are they up to? Be an active community member. Right. And so if you're in this, for the culture, for the community, then maybe community member is the right thing for you. If you want to, actively participate in something like decision making, or, you want to be more active, yes, in the decisions that are made within that DAO, then you should, I'm not 100% sure about the other DAOs, but Maker, for instance, has delegates. So for example, if you want to be a community member, you want to, own some MKR, but you don't have the time to follow everything that is going on in Maker. You have, your own life with a job and stuff. Then you can just delegate your MKR to a recognized delegate, and they will basically use your voting power to make decisions on your behalf. Another thing is, if you want to have an actual job at a DAO, so basically you're looking for a full-time or part-time job, you want to contribute with your own resources, like your knowledge and talent, then you should look into the kind of job you want to do. That's it. Sometimes, by the way, this is a pro tip for everyone. Sometimes DAOs, and actually very often DAOs don't even have a lot of jobs listed anywhere, or they are hard to find, or, they don't have something that fits you. And really the best way to go is just hit up a DAO member and talk to them and say, I have these skills, or I know to speak these languages, and I really want to contribute. So how can I help? We have so many people actually in Maker who started this way. They were just community members. And they said, I have no idea, like, how would you need me specifically? But I speak Spanish, for instance, and I can do some translations. And they ended up, working with me in the same team of marketing. So this is, super cool. So yes, and then I guess so if you're looking for a job, like to get remuneration for your resources within a DAO, then you should just look at what you want. But there's also one more thing. This is something that I am currently working on myself. Because I personally haven't been very active in a lot of DAOs. And I realized that I would really like to join some communities that have similar interests, and just like a hobby kind of community. So for me, it would be jazz and wine. And, I was joking at one point that maybe I should create a jazz DAO, so we can just be, friends from around the world who meet for jazz festivals, So that's, it really depends on like the kind of stuff that you're looking for.
There's an amazing recommendation. So please do remember that every DAO is it is the community of people, first, then exactly. comes code and smart contracts. So find this community. Imagine that you are talking with the community of people who think like you, who are like-minded people like you, and start to talk with them. Jump to Discord, because every DAO, as I'm not mistaken, have the Discords.
Yeah.
Discord is so sophisticated for me, for example, but nevertheless, it's not a problem to dive in and start to communicate and ask how may I contribute? I may do XYZ. How can I contribute to your DAO? And every DAO needs skills from marketing to whatever we even can imagine. It's very easy to join a community, to start to contribute to DAO. So it's quite simple. A couple of questions come regarding Maker from our team. They ask, tell us about MakerDAO governance. Is the current system of governance adequate? How do you evaluate? How would you answer these two questions together?
Yeah. So this is basically what I covered before. Our governance is based on maker improvement proposals. We have so many. I don't even know the exact number, but it's really easy to look it up. But it's over 70. It's a lot of different types of proposals, depending on the kind of stuff you want to propose, right? So if you want to start a new core unit, there is one structure for the proposal that you get, like a template. If you want to, propose a new collateral type for the maker vaults, then there's another type of proposal, and so on. So it's important for us to have all this structure so that the forum doesn't become like a forum where people come in with different ideas without any structure, and you have to take it out and work it out yourself. So there are rules that everyone has to follow when they propose something. So yeah, anyone can come in and make a maker improvement proposal. As I explained before, usually, you leave it up on the forum for people to discuss, to see how, what is the overall sentiment and how the community feels about it. And then the next official step would be a governance poll where the community would vote. And then if it passes the governance poll, then it would go to executive poll.
Well, taking into account there's some case with TerraLuna, thanks God they were not DAO, they just were algorithmic stable coins. So we did see how this concept of work is working not so well. Now we'll see. So the question comes, should DAI holders care after TerraUSD or USD alternative name crash? Now the question requires to explain what's the main difference between DAI and TerraLuna, why DAI is Ethereum-backed stablecoin, and the DAI fate will not be the same. It could not be the same like the fate of algorithm stablecoins. Your answer.
Yeah, exactly. So first of all, just want to mention that, well, that case was, a lot of it was built on hype, a lot of that project. The main difference is just that the Terra stablecoin is under collateralized and DAI is over collateralized, which means that for every DAI that is minted, there is more of its value locked in the Maker protocol.
50%, if I'm not mistaken. For every $100 in DAI, we have $150 in collateral in Ethereum, right?
Yeah, around 50%. Yes. So it's like 150% of that of DAI's value. Yeah. So that is the main difference, and that is the most important thing. I do understand, where this question comes from, because we saw, we tried not to address the because Maker has been around for so many years, and we've seen a lot of different projects come and go with different hypes, but we're just keep doing our own thing, because it's all about the fundamentals of the protocol and the fundamental tokenomics. And for us, it's always been very clear that there is no way, that a stable coin can keep its peg if it's under collateralized, because there has to always be a safety net. So it's basically that. In terms of, should DAI holders care after this crash? I think this was a really sad thing actually for so many people, because so many people lost their money, who believed in this project in DeFi. So I'm definitely sorry for them, but also, no, we were a little bit concerned that, it's never nice when these things happen in DeFi, right? It's because they negatively affect not just the specific project, but also the other protocols that are doing similar things. So in that case, we saw that regulators and journalists, the media has built up a pretty negative sentiment towards all stable coins, and a lot of media outlets or people decided to do these commentaries and opinion pieces where they put all stable coins in one bowl, one big mix, and would say stable coins are fundamentally bad for everything, which is just factually untrue. So the good side of on the bright side, we saw that the people who actually, read into the Maker tokenomics realized that, okay, this is very different. DAI is fully decentralized, which means, we're not a company behind it. So the Maker protocol is a tech stack. We cannot, nobody can come in and decide to blacklist an address for DAI, for instance.
Like Tether may do.
Yeah, exactly. It's, it's possible. The thing is, in Maker, this is not possible because we don't control it. It's a stable coin issued by codes. So DAI is fully decentralized, and we are, and it's over collateralized, and it's going to stay over collateralized forever, because this is the fundamental part of the protocol. And when we take, as a DAO, when we take decisions, to improve the protocol and so on, we are very, conservative and very risk averse, and really like to stay on the safe side, because we would like this protocol to be here long term, right? Yeah,
Maker has already had the 4 years, if I'm not mistaken, the track record successful. It's been established in 2017 when ICO era high was. Okay, let's take this three main abbreviation. First is DAO, second is DeFi, and the third is NFT, or non-fungible tokens.
Yeah.
What do you see a lot of examples of combinations of such huge segments of Web3? In every segment, there's a little piece, little world we may endlessly dive in. How do you see the main, what are your favorite practical examples of interactions between DAO and DeFi, DAO and NFT, DeFi and NFT technologies? You understand the question?
Yeah, totally. There's many use cases. So DAO and DeFi, I think that's pretty clear. Maker is
Maker, right?
Yeah. Right. Just having a decentralized structure that is behind any kind of protocol in DeFi, basically, that is, helping the protocol run and maintain its health. DAOs and NFTs, something we did, briefly discussed earlier, like the idea with the Jazz DAO, you could have NFTs for memberships, for different things. There are already so many DAOs doing that.
DAO NFTs, this is Envelop, for instance.
Yeah, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, you can use the NFTs as just like MKRs for Maker, voting power. So you can use the NFTs as a membership and participate in the DAO. So like a token gated community with NFTs, something like that. And then DeFi
and NFT.
Yeah, DeFi and
NFT. Do we have examples? Let's remember. I'm not the DeFi user at all, but I'm simple user, just fungible.
I'm on the other side where I don't I don't use NFTs very much, but so I cannot, sorry, but I cannot give you clear examples right now. But I do know that, just the first thing that comes onto my mind would be, using NFTs as collateral that backs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So every value unit, and NFT is the value unit, may be used in every DeFi service theoretically and practically. If there is no specific service which utilizes such a problem, just wait a bit and it will appear inevitable, because this is open source. These are building blocks, and all these Web3 building blocks may be combined and will inevitably be combined together, and we will see the Caribbean explosion. We've already seen the Caribbean explosion of all this stuff, and we will see this is an amazing place. It's not too late to join for those who are listening to us. Another specific question comes from our team. This is the kind of big. I will read it. Tell me, can DAO Maker in some form use the developments of DAO Envelop? And here I need to explain that DAO Envelop have established and have exploited the sort of wrapping NFT protocol. This protocol lets us to take an NFT, add any collateral, fungible collateral, Ethereum, also any fungible tokens, wrap it, make a such of envelope or a wallet. I would say the digital leather Prada or Louis Vuitton wallet with in the form of NFT with same metadata with crypto inside. And this thing requires, or the thing has a lot of new features such as time locks, event locks, royalties, many interesting things with predictable price, because this is an NFT, this is a fungible token. But this thing works in dozens of use cases, and Envelop has developed such a protocol, and we've been implemented in dozens of use cases already. And the question comes for DAO Maker. So in particular, the experience of Terra, Waves, D, not DAI, showed that the problem with algorithmic stable coins on the current generation is, first of all, that manipulations are possible with block liquidity, and we've already discussed it. Meanwhile, with wrapped NFTs, you can block liquidity, set a time block, different recipients, etc., and at the same time sell wrapped NFT itself in the secondary market, which will not lead to such a collapse in the primary market. So the question dives into the point that there's the great form of existence of fungible tokens in the form of non-fungible token, which is wrapped. What are your main thoughts on this concept of wrapped NFTs at all? How do you see the possible use cases? Whatever you want to say.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I'm probably not the right person to ask that question, actually. I would just say that, like, right now, overall, based on the discussion within our DAO, every time, we talk about how can Maker involve NFTs in its protocol, like maybe we could accept it as collateral, or do
And Maker does not still utilize this NFT at all.
As far as I know, no.
As far as I know, yes, definitely. I don't know too. Okay, so Maker do not use NFT at all.
Yeah, as collateral, no, because this is because the price prediction or the value of the NFT is hard to lock, basically. With fungible tokens, you have the oracles that are reading the prices and locking these prices, and so this is why it's safe to keep it as collateral to back DAI. In the case of NFTs, it is just not the case. But this is really interesting and something I'm definitely going to research.
Oh, that's amazing. Especially from your side. Okay, let's go further. So Envelop is not just a developer of the wrapping product, but it is also a DAO, and exactly saying this is a super DAO. This consists of a sort of micro DAOs, because Envelop has Oracle, Index, and Protocol, and these are micro DAOs. And the next question comes from our team. Envelop are innovating in the DAO space because we are super DAO that is launching our products and services as micro DAOs. What do you think of this? And do you think other DAOs will be inspired by this and adopt this model? This is kind of sophisticated even for me, but you are the DAO specialist. What I thought.
Yeah. So conceptually, again, it sounds interesting. I see, here I see like, I'm thinking about the scope, not the scope, the goal of this Super DAO, right? Having different DAOs. So let me just mention that the way Maker works is that we're not just individual contributors working for Maker. We have I think 21 different core units. These core units are different teams. So we have, for instance, the protocol engineering team. I work in the growth team that's doing marketing and business development. We have the strategic happiness core unit. There's a lot of different ones, right? And all of these teams are different business entities, different legal entities. They also have a perfectly flat, like all of the teams have a perfectly flat, structure. Totally, what's it called? There's just one facilitator that is answering, or that is responsible in front of the DAO, the community. And then this facilitator is hiring eventually the contributors or external agencies. So when you think about, so for instance, Maker has, I think we have 115 people involved as contributors and facilitators in these teams, right? At this point, the way I understand this concept of having a super DAO with DAOs would be having the same structure of this distributed DAO, but instead of these teams being companies, as they are in Maker, they would be DAOs with even more distributed structure. Is this how I understand it correctly?
I think yes, because every super DAO consists of, let's consider it like a big circle and little circles inside, and the peoples are also the members of the Super DAO and the Micro DAO. That's quite a sophisticated concept because it requires a lot of architecture, but nevertheless, we have what we have.
Yeah. So what I think is that. First of all, well, it's interesting only in case there is like this DAO is as big as, having over 1,000 contributors, or maybe even way more, like 5,000 contributors, because it wouldn't make sense to have mini DAOs of 4 people within a DAO with, 20 people, something like that, And also, I would just like to mention that there has to be like the use case has to solve a problem. I think this is something I mentioned in my talk, actually, if Rio, is that there isn't the need for decentralization where centralization works perfectly fine and doesn't create problems. So that is so in our case for Maker, for instance, we have over 100 people, and we have these different companies, and there's just no need, to decentralize the companies even more at the moment. But maybe if we get to 1,000 people, maybe.
This is an amazing answer, and definitely do not put decentralization in every point you see in front of you, because centralization and decentralization, these are just forms of human coordination in reaching the goals. And if centralized entity works well, for example, for any people's humanity needs, use that. And if you need specifically DAO structure for specific goals, what is better to structurize it DAO form if you need to do it decentralizedly, involving people from all over the planet Earth, and never see them and incorporate this crypto. So this just does a form of human coordination. And there's the perfect solution for any case. These are just only tools or with features. Another great question regarding governance is coming. When we talk about DAO, we imagine governance, and governance requires holding tokens and voting, like we did say before. And Envelop asks, well, Envelop doesn't use the governance token model. So it sounds quite bizarre. How could exist a DAO without governance and without governing token? But this is the case of Envelop. Do you think such a system is viable? Is it needed at all? Can it survive?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the use case, I guess. I think, when there is a token and this token doesn't have like a stable value. When the value of that token depends on the performance of the project, let's say, then it incentivizes people to, come up with better ideas and contribute more. And so it acts as an incentive, right? At the same time, if there is no need for a token, if it's the kind of a community where you're just voting on different things, or you're part of this community, I don't know, for a lot more other reasons than holding a token long term, like longing that token and hoping to for it to increase in value and so on. I mean, obviously that's not the only reason. That's actually a very small reason for these kind of DAOs that have tokens. But yeah, it just depends on the use case. I definitely don't think that there is a need for a token everywhere. Yeah.
Definitely. What are your favorite DAO resources? Collecting information.
Sorry, can we pick just one last question? Because I have to run in 7 minutes.
Okay, no problem. This is the last one. Your favorite DAO resources, how to learn about DAOs, how to learn about DAOs. How do you prefer to learn about DAOs and deep dive into that?
Personally, I'm in a place where I have a good enough network, and I guess I follow the right places on, crypto Twitter. But I guess your question, would be more to help a newbie. And there, I just highly suggest to just find a couple of really good resources like podcasts, or, listening to podcasts. Obviously, the Defiant or Unbanked and Unchained, those are really great podcasts. Or Bankless is very good, reading Bankless and so on. Bankless is also a DAO, for instance, and it's anyone can go in and contribute there as well. So first of all, follow the right media and the right channels, and see what are the projects that are really building stuff and being active within the Web3 ecosystem, and see what those communities are, how are they functioning, and just deep dive. I think the best way is to start by deep diving just into a few projects instead of trying to grab everything, because in Web3 you never will grab everything.
Amazing. Yeah. I hope this episode will also become the starting point, entry point into the DAO landscape, because such a huge explanation and from Corina from MakerDAO. What could be better this time? And thank you for mentioning Bankless, because I am the Bankless fan too.
Yeah.
These guys, I'll put the link in the description. These guys, David Hoffman and Ryan Sean Adams, have been running an amazing job for all the community. Yeah. Thank you very much, Corina, for your explanation. Thank you very much for your vision on DAOs, DeFi NFT. Corina from MakerDAO was featured in this episode of the DAO podcast. I'm Eugene Crypto MC. Please like, share, subscribe, join our Telegram channel, join the YouTube channel, use DAI stablecoin. This is quite better than Terra Luna. We do understand. Maybe compare with Tether. Also, and stay tuned on our channels for the next episode of the DAO Envelop podcast. Bye-bye.
Blockchain. B-L-O-C-K chain. Digital money, smart contracts, NFT, IDO, decentralization, transparency. So many opportunities, but so many challenges. Some financial manipulators, by their actions, confuse blockchain solutions and block their development. The idea that the blockchain should bring copyright and royalties protection to the next level is quite old, but the realizations of these ideas are not perfect at all. There is another problem of determining the value of a particular cryptocurrency or NFT. These and other problems need to be solved. Fortunately, the blockchain infrastructure is evolving. My name is E, Mr. E, and I represent the Envelop project. Many things have already been invented in the blockchain today. Tokens, smart contracts, platforms for creating your own coins, NFTs, exchanges for buying, selling, and exchanging all these blockchain resources. Envelop is another step in the development of crypto technologies. The protocol that works with NFT and cryptocurrencies. The idea is simple but disruptive. Let's assume you have an NFT, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Using the Envelop protocol, you can wrap the original NFT accompanied with several tokens. Technically, you get a similar NFT, but what is the breakthrough here? Once wrapped, the token has a number of additional features that were not available before. The minimal cost appears. It is provided with coins wrapped together with NFT. An asset wrapped with Envelop has a number of properties that allow the original author to receive royalties from the resale of that asset. Various rules can be applied to the wrapped token. For example, a lock period for unwrapping. It secures the asset till the determined moment or safeguards it from speculation during the hype period. At the same time, wrapped tokens can be transferred and traded. These are just some of the scenarios for using Envelop. NFTs become more popular, and the tools provided by Envelop expand the opportunities of NFTs utilization. Wide application possibilities are achieved due to the fact that, in addition to the protocol, the project includes a number of subsystems. The protocol provides functions wrapping and unwrapping. Oracle mechanics provides asset valuation using analytical algorithms. Index provides a summary assessment of several NFT assets with the common criteria. The project has its own token, which connects all elements of the system. Altogether, this is Envelop, a tool in the blockchain world for building modern and secure systems in various fields. Find more info about the project on the website. Envelop. Make your NFT valuable. Just practical, no hype.